The New York Yankees are one of the best teams in all of baseball, as they're led by the two best players in the American League this year, have a dominant rotation with plenty of depth, and have a deep order with plenty of contributors. It's hard to find holes in a roster when a team is surging at 49-22, but their bullpen definitely lacks some of the traits that you want for a World Series caliber unit. Despite having a good ERA, the bullpen doesn't strike out a lot of batters, and they often hurt themselves when unnecessary walks as well. With how good this team has been, you can expect Brian Cashman to aggressively search for relievers at this year's deadline, and today, we're looking at 5 excellent trade candidates to boost this already excellent roster and give the Yankees one of the best bullpens in baseball once more. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay up to date with everything going on with the New York Yankees. We're your one-stop shop for Bronx Bombers content, and without further ado, let's get into today's video. If the Yankees want a power right-handed arm, Ryan Helsley of the St. Louis Cardinals stands out as a great option for that kind of role. The Cardinals are not bad, but they're also not a good team. They could look to sell at this year's trade deadline the same way they did in 2023. Through 30 outings this season, Helsley has a 2.70 ERA and a 137 stuff plus on the season, sporting the dominant arsenal that the Yankees would love to add to their bullpen. Clay Holmes is a good closer, but adding another closer-level arm to boost their bullpen would be an excellent idea for this team. His slider is one of the best pitches in baseball, with a sharp, dropping action that pairs super well with his dominant four-seam fastball that has tons of vertical life and velocity. While the fastball hasn't generated as many whiffs this year as years past, it could be because of the way that hitters have improved against velocity, or perhaps it's a command thing that the Yankees could fix. Whatever it may be, Helsley has remained a great reliever, and he fits the Yankees' bullpen needs like a glove, and the Yankees would have control of him during the 2025 season as well, which is helpful because Clay Holmes is an impending free agent. Heading your bullpen with these two right-handers with different arsenals and looks would be great, and the Yankees could end up with one of the best reliever duos in baseball by having arguably 2 of the 10 best closers in all of baseball in the exact same bullpen. Speaking of arms and swing and miss stuff, Hunter Harvey might be right up the Yankees' alley. The right-hander is one of the most underrated and overlooked relievers in baseball, and has the strikeouts and ground balls to be an excellent pairing alongside Clay Holmes. Through 32 appearances, Harvey has a 2.83 ERA, 27.3% strikeout rate, and a perfect 1.00 whip, as he's pitched 35 innings and shown the ability to be a multi-inning weapon when needed. His four-seamer is a strong pitch, as batters are slugging just .333 against it, and it sits at 98 miles per hour with good vertical movement, but his signature pitch is arguably his nasty splitter, as he's relied on that more often this season than last year. It's a nasty off-speed pitch with plenty of vertical drop, and with a slider and curveball that both have tons of movement and whiff potential, Harvey is the kind of pitcher that would give the Yankees a tremendous boost to their bullpen. He's also under control through the 2025 season, and the Yankees could view him as an 8th inning option, or they could view him as a second closer to close out games when Clay Holmes isn't available. I think this is an instant, high leverage option that not enough people are talking about. Hunter Harvey really does have a good profile for Yankee Stadium because he doesn't give up a ton of home runs, he gets a lot of swings and misses, and he doesn't have a lot of those self-inflicted wounds with walks. A pitcher I would compare him to is kind of like Luke Weaver. Good amount of strikeouts, not a lot of walks, and not a lot of damage contact. And having that kind of pitcher in your bullpen to bridge the gap to Clay Holmes is super important because missing bats in the postseason is important. And I think a lot of Yankee fans would agree that they just want to see some more swing and miss from their relievers. With how poorly the Miami Marlins are doing, it's no surprise that they'll be sellers ahead of this year's trade deadline, and Turner Scott could be a very attractive option for the Bronx Bombers. The Southpaw's coming off an excellent season in 2023, and while he struggled to open the season, he's been quite unhittable since the point in time in which he was walking the ballpark. Through his first few appearances, he had an abnormally high walk rate, but over his last 19 1/3 innings, he's allowed 1 earned run, and his walk rate has come down as well. We're seeing a higher strikeout rate, a lower walk rate, more ground balls, and a lower average against. The overall ERA on the season is 1.39, and while the underlying metrics aren't pretty, with everything suggesting he's due for some harsh regression, those are not predictive metrics, those are descriptive metrics. What's the difference? The difference is that they're not predicting that his ERA will go up. They're simply saying that based on how he pitched over that sample size, his ERA should be higher than it actually was. I think he'll pitch better than how he was pitching to start the year because he's already started showing signs of having better command and better swing and miss stuff. And also, last year was a really good example of the kind of pitcher he is. He struck out a ton of batters, only walked 7.8% of batters faced, and he was a demon in high leverage, which is exactly what the Yankees could use from the left-handed side. He's a free agent after the 2024 season, so if he bombs, he's just a rental and the Yankees can cut their losses from there. I don't think he would bomb here. I think it would be excellent for the Yankees because his fastball slider combination plays to both lefties and righties, and if the Yankees were to add him to their bullpen, that is an 8th inning option or a closing option from the left-handed side, where the Yankees have not gotten a lot of reliever production. Reed Garrett has hit a bit of a tough stretch after being one of the best relievers in baseball over the first parts of the season, but he could be the perfect addition for this bullpen. The right-hander generates a ton of swings and misses, and he still has some really good numbers in the season. Garrett has struck out 53 batters over 33 and 2/3 innings with a 3.21 ERA and a 3.24 FIP, showing off the ability to generate swings and misses at a hilariously high clip. Walks are a bit of a problem, but he gets so many strikeouts that you kind of ignore it. He strikes out almost 37% of batters faced. That creates an over 20% strikeout to walk rate. I'll take that from a reliever any day of the week. As for his arsenal, his best pitches are his splitter and sweeper. His cutter and four-seamer are fastballs he throws frequently, but they aren't great pitches. They get swings and misses, but they don't necessarily limit damage contact, so I am a little bit curious to see how his usage rates on those pitches would change throughout the season. What I do like is adding someone with a good splitter like Reed Garrett because it allows the Yankees to add a unique pitch to their bullpen because the Yankees don't have anybody who throws a splitter in their entire pitching staff. This could give them an even more unique and different group, and the right-hander could be a multi-inning weapon for the Yankees, the same way Luke Weaver has been. His 2.54 expected ERA suggests that he could be due for some positive regression, but as mentioned earlier, those type of underlying metrics aren't necessarily saying that he has to pitch better, just that if he continued to pitch this way, he would probably have a lower ERA. I think part of the problem here has been the bad defense of the Mets. They have the 9th worst fielding run value in baseball at -6, whereas the Yankees lead all of baseball in that metric at +21. That's a pretty significant difference, and a pitcher would certainly notice that. And considering that Reed Garrett has 5 more years of control after this season, it would certainly be an attractive trade idea for the Yankees. It seems crazy to suggest that the Mets would trade a low-cost option with multiple years of control, but Bob Nightingale of USA Today included him among the group of players that the Mets would be willing to sell off, and common sense would tell you that selling high on a reliever isn't a bad idea, so I certainly would look at him as an option for the Yankees, and he might be my favorite option on this list. Now finally, we have to talk about Mason Miller. It's unlikely that the Yankees are going to pull off a trade for the powerful right-hander, but it's Mason freaking Miller. Of course we're going to talk about him. The right-hander has a 2.40 ERA through 24 plate appearances, serving as a multi-inning relief role, and having the overwhelming stuff that makes any fan drool at the idea of adding him to their bullpen. It's not crazy to think the Oakland Athletics would at least listen to trade offers, but the demand will likely be too high for the Yankees to bite. The right-hander is averaging 101.2 miles per hour with the fastball and has a 48.7% strikeout rate. He would immediately form the best bullpen duo we've ever seen alongside Clay Holmes, and he's arguably the best reliever in baseball himself. There's no doubt about the fact that he can contend for that title, and the stuff for him is so remarkable that you just have to ask the Athletics what it would take to get his services. The right-hander would be under team control for 5 more seasons after this one, and he could be a potential starter as well in next year or down the road, whatever, if the Yankees decide to stretch him out, because the A's stretched him out last season as one. I think he would stay in the bullpen. He's just that good, and I'm not necessarily advocating for the Yankees to trade the farm for a closer, but I am saying that he could absolutely change the outlook of any bullpen and the contention situation for the American League. I'd try to acquire 2 relievers instead of going all out for one, but if somehow Brian Cashman found a way to pull this off in a way that made sense, he would not only have the best 1-2 punch in his lineup, he would also have the best 1-2 punch in his bullpen, and I think neither margins would be really close with anybody else's duo either, so this is certainly an attractive option. It's the sexy name, it's the big time move that you expect the Yankees to make, but it's not necessarily the most logical one. I still have to talk about him. He's just so good. He's just so entertaining. He's box office, but I don't necessarily see this coming to fruition, so I'd pay attention to the other 4 names on this list. Let us know what relievers you guys like in the comment section below though. We'd love to know what you guys think, and if you guys agree with the 5 relievers we put on this list, and if you're interested in any of them becoming Yankees. You guys can join the conversation in the comment section below and stay up to date on our posts by liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell. All of that stuff is free. You can also check us out on our various social media platforms. We have an Instagram, a TikTok, a Twitter, and a Facebook page, all under the @Fireside Yankees. There are links in the description for those as well. You can follow me on Twitter @RyanGarcia_ESM. And of course, thank you guys so much for sticking through to the end of the video. You guys are the best. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Yankees. Peace out, everybody.
Perfect.